Good evening and welcome to the November 21st, 2024 Marlington Local School District Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would you please call the roll, Mr. Foss?
Josh Hagan.
Here.
Karen Humphreys.
Here.
Kathy Krepko.
Here.
Mark Ryan.
Here.
Jonathan Swift.
Reading of the mission statement. In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student. Additions or corrections to the meeting agenda?
None that I'm aware of.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Oh, okay.
I thought I heard someone say.
You said so moved and second.
Can't do that.
You're
I'll do it
moving.
first.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Hagan.
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys.
Yes.
Ms. Krepko.
Yes.
Special presentation.
Okay, good evening. We get to honor our Students of the Month. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the high school. And if I could have Mr. Farrell come up and do our Elk Student of the Month, that would be great.
All right, good evening. I have the privilege of introducing two of our high school students as Elks Teens of the Month. When I call your name, please come stand up here while I read a short biography about you. First up is Chloe Cantwell. Chloe is the daughter of Michael and Rachel Cantwell. She is a member of National Honor Society, Tri-M Music Honor Society, Drama Dukes, and Sources of Strength. Chloe is president of Character Counts Club and vice president of Choir Council. She was also a 2024 Carnation Queen contestant. In her free time, Chloe enjoys reading, playing the guitar, and the piano. After graduation, she plans to pursue a bachelor's degree in social work. Chloe's teachers say she is a pleasure to have in class. She is a fantastic student and exceptional leader in the building. She is often seen helping out around the building in various capacities. She doesn't hesitate to take on any leadership role and always has a smile on her face and a positive attitude while doing it. She is very deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Chloe. Our other Elks Teen of the Month is not with us tonight. It's actually my son, Peyton Farrell. He's not with us tonight. He is at swim practice tonight. So he couldn't be here. He wanted to make sure he didn't miss any practice. He wanted to take every chance he could to get better. So I'm going to go ahead and read his profile anyway. Peyton is the son of myself and Sarah Farrell. He is a member of National Honor Society, Character Counts Club, and the varsity cross country, swimming, and track teams. He is a 2024 Buckeye Boys State delegate, a Duke crew director, and a member of the engineering program. Peyton works at New Baltimore Ice Cream and Texas Roadhouse. In his free time, he enjoys working out, playing cards, computer coding, and hanging out with friends. Following graduation, Peyton plans to pursue a degree in computer software engineering. The staff at MHS describes Peyton as a terrific young man who cares very much not only about his studies but about other people. He's always willing to ask for help for himself in his studies or help others when he sees they need it. He's a positive role model to other students in the building and always makes an effort to do the right thing all the time. Peyton is also very deserving of this recognition. Congratulations to Peyton. Next up is middle school principal, Mr. Rizzoletti.
Good evening. We'd like to introduce our first student of the month, Frank Greiner. Frank is the son of Jenna and Frank Greiner. He's an avid scholar and likes to study history in his spare time. This is his first year at Marlington Middle School, but he's made quite the positive impression on those around him, staff and students. Frank is wrestling for the middle school team, and he's working hard with that sport. He's also not afraid to do what it takes to further himself. For example, Frank is the only middle school student that takes French class at the high school. This work ethic and initiative explain why he is Student of the Month. This is what his teachers have to say about him. Frank's one of the most intelligent kids we've ever had here. He's an extremely hard worker and does a nice job of participating in class. Additionally, he brings a smile and a kind word to school every day. Frank is respectful to everyone and works well with others, no matter who he is seated by. He's always eager to answer questions and contribute to the class. Frank's a very diligent student who completes his work thoughtfully. He's a positive role model to everyone, has a great attitude, and is always willing to help. We're grateful to have Frank Greiner at MMS. And the middle school's next student of the month is Brenna Courtney. Brenna is the daughter of Stephanie and Tony Courtney. She's active in swimming and also in the band. In band, Brenna plays clarinet. She's such a dedicated and talented member that she was able to march with the high school this past year. This is what her teachers have to say about her. Brenna always comes to class prepared and ready to learn. You can count on her to have her work done and completed properly. Brenna's both a reader and a leader. Brenna's a quiet reader who always turns in assignments on time and to the best of her ability, and she's a great leader at her table who helps other students understand the material in class. Brenna's very deserving of this recognition. She exemplifies a respectful, responsible leader through her work ethic and her positive attitude. We're very proud of Brenna Courtney. And next up is Mrs. Weber and Lexington Elementary.
Good evening. Could I have Miss Kalina Spencer come up and join me? Kalina is the 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month for Lexington for the month of November. Couple things about Kalina. Her favorite subject in school is math. She lives with her mom and her sister, and she has a cat and a dog, and she loves going on vacation. She would like to be a surgeon when she grows up, and she would like to go to Japan and see Mount Fuji. And she also would like to meet Tom Holland. Cool. A little bit about her. She enjoys going on walks. She loves shopping in her free time. But most importantly, here's what Kalina's teachers had to say about her. Kalina is a respectful, responsible, and hardworking student who consistently demonstrates a positive attitude towards learning. She follows classroom rules, and she exceeds expectations. Kalina enjoys volunteering, helping others, and she is the office manager of the 5th grade. Way to go, Kalina. Your team is proud of you, Lexington is proud of you, and we love that you show Duke pride every day. Congratulations. Next up, Ms. Mort, Marlboro Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Marlboro Elementary's November Kiwanis Student of the Month, Sophia Armour. You look fabulous. There you go. Your sister agreed. Okay, a little bit about Sophia from her teachers. Sophia is always eager to learn and has excellent participation in class. She is very responsible and consistently puts forth her best effort to succeed academically. Teachers and fellow classmates appreciate Sophia's positive attitude and consideration for others. It is a pleasure to recognize Sophia Armour as our Kiwanis Student of the Month. A little bit more about Sophia. Her favorite subject in school is math. Mrs. Beatles makes learning fun, and Sophia states that she has always had great math teachers to learn from. And she particularly enjoys learning different math strategies. Some special things about Sophia's family. Sophia lives with her mom and dad and her 2 younger sisters, Mila and Luna. She has 2 dogs and 3 cats. Sophia enjoys helping with her younger sisters, ages 5 and 1. Sophia especially loves going on family vacations. Her favorite places are Myrtle Beach and Disney. Her favorite activities are going to the beach, shopping, and riding the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disney. Her future plans. When Sophia is older, she wants to become an architect, and her goal is to design houses. She wants to attend Harvard University. Sophia also hopes to travel and specifically visit many other states, including California. In her free time, Sophia enjoys drawing people and animals. She also plays softball. She typically plays second base and outfield, and her favorite parts of the game are base running and getting people out. Sophia also loves shopping with Mom. And lastly, Sophia is an honor roll student and a role model at Marlboro Elementary. Congratulations, Sophia Armour, Marlboro's Kiwanis Student of the Month for November. Next up, Mr. Spondil for Washington Elementary.
Good evening. The Washington Kiwanis Student of the Month is Caleb Lumley. I didn't see Caleb. Did he walk in? Okay. Well, we'll read about him anyway. Caleb Lumley, 5th grader, Washington Elementary. He's the Kiwanis Student of the Month for November. He's been selected because of his work ethic and consistent desire to help others in the classroom. He is always taking care of the classroom at the end of the day. He is a kind friend, and he ensures his peers have everything they need to be successful. Caleb is leading by example and has proven that he is a Duke worth following. A couple positive things the teacher said about him: that he is a really hard worker and seems to find the most joy in giving to others and helping people around him. He is quiet and kind nature and makes the classroom a better place. Caleb's favorite subjects in school are science and social studies. At home with his family, he has 2 dogs named Rocco and Abby and 1 cat named Vincent. He really enjoys going to Florida to visit his cousins. And a couple hobbies about Caleb: he likes to play video games, he plays in the band at school, and he is an active participant in 4-H. So congratulations to Caleb.
Okay, I would like to thank all our family members and students that came out tonight for our Students of the Month presentation. At this time, we're about to start the formal part of the meeting, so if you wish to stay for that, that's fine. If not, this would be the time to you go ahead and make your exit. Thank you.
Invocation. Mr. Foss, would you please?
Sure. Dear Lord, we thank you that we can be here tonight. We thank you for the students that attend this district. And we pray that you will give the board wisdom tonight in making their decisions, that they might do a great job at leading this district to even greater success. We thank you so much for the opportunity that we have to make a change for the better. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on in the meeting here. So we did have the work session on Monday at 5 to review the 5-year forecast with, I think everybody was here. Mark attended virtually and listened. We always bring Ryan back at this point in time just to do another quick review of the forecast, and then any questions you have since that follow-up you may have for Ryan before it gets recommended for approval later in the meeting. So go ahead, Ryan, it's all you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Based off of actual data going through October, on both revenue and expenditure side, and then in addition, the tax values, looking at some of the settlement data with the pipeline, we have the district starting the year with about $7.1 million in cash, and just shy of $29 million in revenue expected, with just over $29,150,000 in expenses. So this year, the district's looking at having an operating deficit of, well, very small, $156,000. Including the renewal levy, going into next year, that deficit looks to grow slightly to $341,000, and then starts to get gradually bigger as you get to 27, 28. With by the time you get to fiscal year 29, based off expenditures growing and your revenue for the most part being relatively flat, you would end 29 with a $2.9 million operating deficit and $120,000 in cash. So the good news, and I'll go into revenue here in a minute, and expenses is the district has a small operating deficit now and has time to look at different ways of either increasing revenue, decreasing expenses to offset that in future years before you get into the more severe parts of 27, 28. Having worked with the district for a while now, the district's done a pretty good job of reducing their overall operating deficit going back a number of years when it was projected to be much wider. When we look at the revenue that makes up with the district's forecast, you'll notice that you do have an increase in 2025. That's the property reappraisal. You'll get your first half from that, and then an additional half in 2026. And that's because taxes go by calendar year. The school year goes off a fiscal year, which starts in July, so you get half the increase from that property reappraisal that occurred this year, the other half next year, and then it stays relatively flat right now because of where the not knowing where the economy and the housing market will be as you get into your trial update, which will occur in tax year 27, which would affect fiscal year 28 first. We don't have anywhere near as large of an increase that you guys saw with this last reappraisal, which, looking back in history, was one of the largest, if not the largest, the district's ever seen. So some increases in revenue there. What you will notice is as you look at this orange section here, this is going to be your public utility. There finally has been a settlement, and so the district is expecting to get their share of back taxes this year, which will equate to a little bit over $2 million, as well as the new adjusted lowered values. And we've been expecting this for some time. Has not taken a little while to get to this point. So after this year, we expect that the pipeline will start paying 100% of their taxes based off the lower amount that went through the court case. But you do see a rather large increase here, and then it starts to decline as there's depreciation on that pipeline. The other thing that may be going on in all of Northeast Ohio is that the electric companies are making some pretty significant increases in energy grids. And so there's a little bit of that benefit built into the public utility as well, for those in district is a guaranteed district as far as state funding goes. And what that means is when you take a look at the combination of the green and the red here, the red is restricted state funding, the green is unrestricted. The combination of those two, the district is pretty much flat funded moving forward. You do have a little bit more of an increase this year. You got some one-time money due to science and reading curriculum changes that will go away next year. So that part of the, which is significant to the district, is relatively flat. Not a whole lot of increases there. Expected, we are going in a new biennium, but unless there was material changes in the state funding formula, we don't see the district come off the guarantee. You need a significant increase in students in order to see that. So we anticipate for the district that be relatively flat. And then your homestead rollback payments, which is in purple here, those are directly related to salary, or I'm sorry, property taxes. And so as property values increase, that's the portion of the state pays on behalf of homeowners. And then finally, all other revenues that include things like tuition payments, federal Medicaid reimbursements, as well as interest income. We are expecting interest income to start to decrease as interest rates appear to be starting to lower at this point, and not looking to maintain the same level of increases you've seen in previous years. So that's why you do start to see slight decreases after 26, especially as your cash balance goes down. But once again, there's also tuition revenue, fees that are collected, as well as federal Medicaid reimbursement in there as well. When we look at the expense side, one thing that you'll notice is that there appears to be a large increase in salaries this year, going from $12.3 million last year to $13.2 million this year. And part of that, a large part of that increase is because the district back in 21 used federal ESSER funds to offset salary and benefit costs. And those funds have now expired as of August of this year. And so those salaries and benefits, as well as some other non-salary benefit expenses that were paid, are coming back into the general fund. And that's making up a good portion. The district also had a decrease in some other federal grant funds that had to bring some additional salaries back in the general fund. And then, planned longevity increases are in there as well. You don't see anywhere near as big of increases in years moving forward. But like I said, for longevity increases and base wage increases, there are planned increases in salaries there. In orange here, you can see your benefit costs. This is going to make up retirement, Medicaid, unemployment, and then health insurance. So once again, a larger increase than normal, going from 24 to 25 because of federal ESSER funds coming back to the general fund. And then moving forward, it increases about the same rate you see your salaries increase, with moderate increases in health insurance premiums, in talking with the district's healthcare consortium. The third biggest expense for the district is going to be your purchase services. This is going to be things like contracting services, tuition costs paid out, utility costs, and some repair costs. And the district's looking to be relatively small increase this year, less than $100,000. And then if some of that's expected to be one-time increases, so relatively level, 25 to 26. Then as you move forward, just inflationary base costs in there as well. In looking at your supply costs here in the red, you will notice there's a bump this year, and the majority of that bump is due to some of the technology the district purchases with paid with federal ESSER funds. Those are coming back this year, and then the district did have some additional one-time costs due to curriculum expenses that will not be there next year moving forward. And then the final two large, you do see small here in purple. There's one bus purchase planned in the forecast each year. You have your other objects. A lot of this is your county audit and treasurer fees, and some county ESC fees, as well as some insurance costs. And then finally, the district, as we mentioned earlier, is expecting a large settlement in public utility, as well as some additional funds because of the settlement with the public utility company through the court cases. And so the district is anticipating transferring all of that revenue out. So you do see a rather large increase here. And then around $1.8 million moving forward being transferred out into your capital projects funds. So the increase that you saw in revenue is offset by increases in expenses from that specific pipeline. And putting it all together. So you can see that the district has had minor, very small operating deficits starting in 23 and 24, much different than what you saw pre-2022 before COVID, where your operating deficits were much larger. Those have been contained to the reductions that the district has made in the budget. And then you can see as you get out here to 26, it will then start to get larger and outpace revenue. As that outpaces revenue, this green line here is your cash balance. And you can see what happens with the fund balance. This does not include the renewal levy, so that is a little bit misleading. But when you do look at this here, you can see where the district is at with those renewal levies. Like I said, coming about 120,000 in 2029. If there's no other changes in the forecast trend go as expected for the next 5 years. With that, I'll take any questions, anything I may be able to answer.
Board?
Seems the consensus might be that most of the questions that they had have already been answered.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Ryan.
That's always a good thing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for having me, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Bye.
Okay, moving on. The board, the board sitting in front of us here tonight all had a chance to, was it been last Sunday, Monday, and a little bit of Tuesday to attend the OSBA board conference down in Columbus. So this is an opportunity if they choose. I think most of our board members attended various, things. If they wish to just maybe talk about one that they attended that they thought was rather interesting. If you'd like to share, you don't have to, but if anybody wants to comment on anywhere that something they attended, that'd be great.
Yeah, I attended 3 sessions. 2 of them were on school finance and the Ohio budget, state budget. The state of Ohio is going into session in January to begin the 2-year budget procedure. It's a biennial budget. So the state's going to start that. 50% of the Ohio budget goes to education. So that's a huge part of their negotiating when they're putting that together. School finance wasn't really anything. We've been doing this long enough, so we understand, at least I understand somewhat what's going on with school finance. No big things there. The consensus was not many levies passed throughout the whole state. A lot of people in attendance were school board members, some treasurers and superintendents, and there was just maybe, they asked for hands of anybody that passed new money. I think maybe two in the room. So yeah, it's a statewide issue of trying to get new money into the school districts. So one of the other ones I attended, Dan and I attended a gender issue session, which had to do, as you can imagine, everything you hear in the news. So it was an interesting. It was an hour session. It had to do with the bathroom issues and how do you deal with that. And the takeaway was Marlington is navigating this very well. So I'd say just as long as we keep continuing what we're doing, we'll be fine. The biggest thing is
Follow along.
you get a lawsuit, and it's going to be very, very, a lot of money to defend yourself. So whatever we can do to navigate that without causing any legal issues, it's mostly legal issues that we want to avoid. But Marlington's navigating that very well.
Thank you.
I attended 3 sessions. They were as follows. The first one was Interpreting Ohio's Gifted Rule Update, which had to do in regards to classification and how schools handle kids that are identified as gifted, the top 10 legal mistakes at board meetings, and the board members' role in budget planning.
I attended 2 sessions. One was presented by the Toledo Public School System, talking about all the innovative programs they're going through and grants that they get with Tesla and other big companies, and what they use their $192 million in ESSER funds on.
Jeez.
Yeah, take a deep breath because we got 6. So they're doing some pretty nice things, but with what we have, we're doing very well and doing similar projects, working with the community and businesses in the community. So we're doing good on that. The second session I attended had to do with updated legislature, the AEDs, wording in a bunch of policies, and we're on top of all of that. The third thing I went to was the business portion of the meeting, and I served as delegate for Marlington.
Thank you.
I went to 3 sessions. The one that stood out to me was about communication, just really kind of practical advice about how to, if you're having a conversation that's going south, so to speak, just to take your time and, even if you have to take a break and just kind of walk away and say, I'm not processing this right now, or I don't think we're going to come to a good conclusion or, a solution that we want to, and just kind of walk away. So it was really kind of practical like that, but it was good advice. I enjoyed that.
Great.
The only other thing I have is that from the OSBA is that the Purple Star Award, which is given to schools that show commitment to children of military families, the application process deadline for that is December 15th.
Yeah, so the Marlington High School is a Purple Star Award school. It runs through a small window period. Our window was coming up this year. Mr. Farrell and I talked. He already did reapply based on things we do here. There's been some conversations amongst our administrative staff. Do we looking at our middle school or our elementaries? It's just a conversation of where we're at now, depending on what different criteria there is. But I know our high school has reapplied based on what we do from there. Around that.
Wonderful.
I also attended 3 sessions, and all 3 were good. One was with Mark, one was a little bit about school funding, and then the third was about principal leadership matters. I actually sat with 2 different school boards from different parts of Ohio, so that they did a nice job on just the types of principals leadership and what they felt was most important when it comes to promoting more academic achievement, promoting better culture, and so forth down the line. So it was good. I think we, amazingly enough, I think Marlington does a really nice job of hitting a lot of the niches that we go to. At the same time, there's also things that we can always get better at, for sure. So I think, and it's nice that the board does go down and we do get some time to talk and discuss some of those things. So I appreciate you guys making the trip down for a couple days. Okay. All right, I'm up. A little short here for you next. I know we got a lot going on, so I appreciate it. So November, I'll just give you a quick update. So as normal, I'll stick to where we're at with every minute, every moment, every member. We'll talk about some reasons to celebrate here. So we're going to talk about the fine arts and sports, our elementary math and reading title night, a million sheets, then there's Ohio Public Education Appreciation. So let's talk about a little bit what's been going on. So we have, here we go, we have our girls volleyball team, Division IV state runner-up. It's the first in Marlington history. As you know, our girls did make it down to the state Final Four last year, which was a first in Marlington history. They've actually gone and improved that and made it to the state championship. So I can tell you it was just an absolutely amazing run. That's a picture of the girls down there in Dayton. Too many accolades to name. They had the volleyball banquet last night, and I know many of our girls had many different accolades, including our head coach there, Steph Tortola. So we're very proud of this group of young ladies. They've worked hard. has our administrator there, Mr. Hilliard. His daughter's in there as a senior. He was, a lot of these girls have been together since, I don't know, Mr. Hilliard back there? Since, I don't even think he's back there?
I think he said 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah, 3rd or 4th grade. So it's been good. So I just, proud to see those girls get to where they were at. So we really had a good time. So if you did make the trip down to Dayton, they were, the state kind of, into my disagreement, had their games broken up, so you had to make multiple trips down to watch the games, but it was worth it if you had a trip down. So congratulations to them. Cross country. Both our boys and girls team made it to regionals. That's an accomplishment in itself, all right, because we've had, looming groups kind of, from the boys' side, move on. We had a younger side of that, where the mentor was Mark's son, Luke, that kind of led the charge this year with the boys, and then he had Ireland Johnson with the girls. And at regionals, Ireland did qualify to state. She ended up, I think, say this right, she was 14th and state in Division II total as a sophomore. So very impressive. She had a really, really good year, all Ohio status. She was the one that made it. We did not have anybody making the boys' side. Luke was right there, I think, down to the last 400 meters, and his legs, I don't know what you call it, lactic, but it wasn't collapse, or Luke would have been down the same picture sitting right up there. So we're very proud of Ireland, so that's good. 14th in the state is just amazing. We're going to see good things from her in the next couple years. Then we have Zoe Mort. All right, so if you don't, in cross country, we were Division II. In volleyball, we were Division IV. In golf, somehow we are Division I in golf for girls. So, we were on the bottom end Division I. Give or take 2 or 3 girls difference in our high school, we would have been Division II, which probably would have changed a whole different outcome for Zoe. Zoe's been on the cusp every year of getting to state. She broke that and got down there. This year, state happened to be for Division I in Dayton. Is that correct, Kitty? Okay. So we had 2 rounds down in Dayton, ended up 12th in the state. Also all Ohio. Just an amazing career for her. We can't say enough. I mean, you can say, oh, it would have been like in Division II, but at the end of the day, she was a Division I is about as hard as it's going to get. And for Marlington local to have I think she was the only golf athlete in Stark County that made it to state in any division. I'm pretty sure. I think I looked. So that's pretty impressive when you talk about every big school in Stark County across the board. She's the one. So in January, I'm hoping to bring in, to be Zoe, Ireland, and the volleyball girls. We're going to do something in January for them right after Christmas, just to honor those people that went down to state. So that's something that's going to be coming up. But talked about that. Our high school band, obviously that was their fall, was their competition season. So if you didn't happen chance to make it to any football games or any of their competitions, they just, as usual, just do an amazing job and put together a show worth watching. And they had multiple excellent ratings. They even had a couple superior ratings. They had a great season, and Mr. Pendergrass is excited and looking forward to next season already. So I just wanted to share a couple pictures, and kudos to the prop crew and the parents and the boosters that actually do a lot of legwork for our students here when it comes to our band. We always have title night. I mean, we have elementary math and reading title night. Many years, it's just typically segregated into the 3 buildings, Washington, Marlboro, and Lexington. The team decided, the elementary team decided to combine our elementary math or reading night. I thought it was reading night. I think it's math and reading is what I was told. And I was there for a bit of it. They did it at the Mullen Center. It worked out really well. Even when I visited, a lot of compliments from families. I think the kids enjoyed themselves. They were able to rotate stations around and do different activities with staff and title staff and folks, and our administrators were were present to enjoy the evening with them. There's just a few pictures more from that evening. We do want to thank them. It was a nice night. Just so you know, every year the Stark Federal Credit Union right there on Sawberg offers a contest based on votes in to give away a free 1,000,000 sheets of paper. So 2 years ago, we ended up getting the most votes and got the 1,000,000 sheets of paper. That's a lot of paper. It's just mine.
We still have some left over from last time?
No. We go through a lot of paper. Last year we did not, and this year that came back up, and thanks to our community, our staff, and many people, we voted again. We were the recipients of the 1,000,000 sheets of paper. So Stark County Credit Union had a 1,000,000 sheets of paper delivered to us, which is a lot of pallets of paper. So we do want to be very proud of that. And again, I mean, it's kind of like a grant that saves us money. So that's all good things. So I do want to thank our community for that. Finally, it is November 17th through 23rd is Ohio Public Education Appreciation Week. We do love our public schools, so we hope we get a chance to celebrate that. So that's what we're, just so you know, that is it's pushed out everywhere right now. So we do appreciate all our staff and teachers that do this, but it is for Public Education Appreciation Week right now. Moving forward, where we're going next month, 2 months, 3 months, all depends. I've told the board, we got my big 3 things to accomplish before January was obviously to make sure that the community understood that renewal was not a new tax levy, and notice in the evaluations that the community would support a renewal, and they did. So we can't thank them enough for the support behind that renewal levy. Obviously, Bob and I have spent a great deal of time, taking a good look. I can't thank Bob enough of, just putting together this 5-year forecast. We want to make sure we have an accurate and transparent 5-year forecast, and that hopefully be approved tonight by the board. And then our next step is obviously we're looking at, this is our 3 years are up. It's hard to believe that we settled the gas negotiations 3 years ago when they came on. That's come back around, so we have certified negotiations coming up, and then I have community meetings. I know I spent some time last in October quite a bit, but this will be the time come January, February. I'll be going back to the churches, kind of set up community meetings just for general things that's going on in the district, questions they have for me. So, and I'll keep you abreast of that, but that's kind of where we're heading. That's really all I have for tonight, unless you guys have any questions right now.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Public participation. Did anyone sign up to speak?
No.
Okay. Old business, none.
None?
Wow. New business.
New business. Okay, there's not a lot on new business tonight. The first one is just a recommendation for the board to review the following policies for the next month. So you got a month to kind of review the policies they're presented. So Mr. Foss and I just kind of, every year we got to take a look at policies to keep up to date. We talked to Ed Holland, and these are the ones that he felt. I asked him, in comparison with all the districts he deals with the state of Ohio, where we're at. He goes, Marlington is 100% caught up on policy, so we're not behind on anything from a legal standpoint. So obviously we give the board a month. So if you go into your iPads by chance, you want to go in and you go under meetings, go under policies, you can kind of take a look at those policies. You'll see anything in green or red in those policies. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Bob or I in the next month. And, we'll ask for any approval for next month. So this is just for you guys to peruse any policies right now.
Are these all Neola recommended updates, or?
They are.
Okay, I just noticed that the sheet over here had the district-specific material, so there's nothing that's specific that wasn't a direct recommendation from Neola on any of these?
This is everything that he recommended that needed to be updated or looked at, and then that's why they're in green or red. So that's why we give a month for the board to look at it. If it's something they feel that they say, hey, they do or don't. At the end of the day, Neola only makes a recommendation to the board. It's the board's decision how they wish to choose to use their policies within their own district. So if he feels it's gone too far one way or another in a policy, he'll tell you. The only thing he'll say is if by chance, let's say it was a very legal policy, and you choose to change the wording of that, then you just don't have the backing of Neola when it would become to the legal side of it if the district would be challenged.
But we don't have any of that in these updates?
No, not that I'm aware of.
They're all
So,
Neola back.
like anything that says rescind would just be it's replaced somewhere else. You know, in there, it means it's not rescinded as in gone, it's just moved to a different spot, or renumbered, like I said. So take a look at those. I want you to, and if you have questions, if you want more of a detailed per one, let me know, and I will happily send in my board update, maybe an email on maybe some things in particular in ones. If you just want to guide that premise, I haven't done that, but I can do that for you if that's okay. That's up to you. I mean, it's really, that's why we don't ever
Board
rush it.
docs, you said, and see that.
It's in board docs that way. It's too long.
Yeah,
It'd be like 100 pages.
Yeah, I was looking in board docs at some of the draft stuff, but I wasn't sure what all would be included, and this was prior to getting this, and I hadn't had a chance to review any of these. But one of the ones that concerned me were there were some changes to the organizational meeting as far as changing wording from shall to may.
Yes.
In regards to appointing committees. And the other issue that I had was prior to this, we had, policy committees that would openly review all the policy changes instead of it just being on this sheet.
Well, first of all, the board needs to be as a total. An old policy committee would be 2 board members, not a full board. That's why we do work sessions. You know, if you want a work session for policy, we can.
Is our policy representative, is that Jonathan?
That's Jonathan. He was not at a policy thing.
So he didn't review
This was for him to review, so no. Just as much as the rest of you, so you're getting the same thing all at the same time. So if you got any questions with me in the next about any of the policies, you want me to discuss those with you,
Okay.
feel free to give me a call, that's fine. And then I can give you the rationale behind it. And then obviously you can vote the way you want to vote at the next meeting. No, that's the sole reason why we give that month's time, is for everybody to review. Typically with Jonathan as a board rep, like if he has a policy question, he run it by him. If I have something policy driven, I would run it by him, no different than our conversations, say, for buildings and grounds and different items that, you and I talk about on a frequent basis and things like that. I feel that the board needs to be equipped as a whole and not as a small group when it comes to these things.
Just to clarify Josh's question, district-specific material would be if we as a board decided we wanted some new policy put in there and asked Neola to review it.
You could.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
that's referring to. This is just explaining.
Those are just brief.
No, I was just questioning whether.
Let me stop, please. Can I finish my discussion?
Sorry,
Thank you.
just trying to clarify for you.
But I'm trying to get it clarified. Could you wait a minute, please? Thank you.
Yes.
These first 2 pages are basically just
Yes, those are
explaining
which, correct.
the process of us getting these bylaw changes and revisions.
I just don't ever print off every single policy because it's in the computer.
Oh, it would take
With
a-
that,
yeah.
it's too much
It would take our
paper.
million papers.
So what they do
Yeah.
is they basically, Neola gives us an update on each policy that is up for change every year. So we do it in November, and every once in a while you get a policy change in the spring, but November's typically our big group that Ed likes to do, statewide on that aspect of it.
And it's usually based on legislative changes.
Some are not.
Okay.
Some are, there's been times when he's made recommendations that Neola does for language changes, and our board has said no, or other boards have said no, and it doesn't change the legalities of it at all. It's just the language change.
So So just to clarify, these are recommended changes from Neola, not changes that our board asked for Neola to change,
The board is not asked, because this is the first time the board has heard it.
or any member. So
Or any
other
member- no
schools
members of
that
the board.
contract with Neola have the exact same
Oh, I don't know.
update that
He
they're
said
being
he has,
recommended?
no, because you could, if you wanted Ed, like I asked Ed that question, Ed said he has many districts that he would say would go, I'm trying to, I don't know, remember how exact words, but my words would be way off the reservation when it comes to language, but that's their right.
It just wouldn't be backed by
It just
Neola.
would not be backed by
It was
Neola,
challenged legally.
you know. So your specific question, I think, was about may or shall. He doesn't care which way it goes. He goes, both would work when you're talking about both. You know, so he said, you know, either one means the same thing.
Well-
He asked my opinion. I said, I like may. You don't have to do may. The board could use shall. He said, it doesn't change the context of it whatsoever. He
Well,
said, the
I
lawyers
just thought
were
it was
there.
interesting because it was in regards to appointing committees,
'cause
and we didn't do
No,
that at
committees-
the organizational
this-
meeting this year.
Correct, because he said it doesn't matter, but this is the policy that came up this year for review. It's not, wasn't asked.
And-
So when Ed
yeah.
brings the policies for review, we review the policies and then he gives options. That's why you have in green or red. So it's the board's choice to choose to make an option or not.
And one of the other policies that I noticed was changing terminology such as his or hers to theirs, and that was something Neola recommended about a year ago, but then we didn't move forward on that.
We did not.
But that was in one of the recommended draft changes in this.
Correct. So you don't have, it's like I said, it's up to the board's choice what they would like to do or not. So typically what in the past is if a board member or group of board members would call and say, hey, I would like to see this changed or not changed, and that's fine. We can make that recommendation change. We do it, then we resubmit it back to you for your second reading, and then you move forward from the vote.
Okay.
So I'm open to, that's why, you know, if anything that you see in there, that's why we have the next 30 days. Kind of take a look at that. Any policy that you deemed as a board feel you want tabled or you want looked at, which is also fine, you know, after those two things. I'm open to, I just present what is there. He will ask my opinion or Bob's opinion, obviously, because we're the two sitting in the chairs. We'll say yay, nay, that might be okay, the board might like that, the board may not, and then that's why we give it to you guys and then look in the computer. So don't. So to answer your second question, no, there's not a single thing in here that was a recommendation from any of the 5 board members. This is just where the policies sit as they come up for revision. And we can move forward from there. Any other questions on that? There's no vote on this.
All right.
Does this includes the telephone? Does it update anything on our telephone policy? Because I know that comes into play soon.
I'd have to look. I mean,
Okay,
it's been
I'll look. You
2 or 3
don't-
weeks,
I-
please. I mean, I can't.
Do we vote on the first reading?
No,
No, it's just
no.
Okay.
review it.
Any other questions right now for the policy readings right now?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, the second one is also not a vote. It's just to recommend that the board and the community review the 2025-2026 Marlington Local School District draft calendar. So again, that will be shared with our union presidents tomorrow. I also put it on the website as a draft, as I did last year. That will give you any input or if you have any questions tonight or over the next month, please let me know before we ask for approval in December.
How does that affect the time, school start time and end time, say for the high school?
Doesn't. Our times are exactly the same. No change in our school.
No change in that?
No.
Okay. So we're meeting the state requirements for hours?
In hours.
Yes, we are. give everybody a chance to look. If you have any questions right now, please ask. If not, you can obviously email or let me know if you have any questions.
What is the total number of hours that is required? Do you remember? That's random. Never mind.
I don't know off the top of my head. I had it on another sheet in front of me. I did not expect that question. I'm usually pretty good at writing down what my thoughts on that is, but
But we far exceed.
yes.
We far exceed the hours. Okay.
No, almost every school district in the state of Ohio far exceeds the recommended or the minimum hours on that end. I can't think of any.
When did it
in
change
Stark
from
County.
days to hours? Do you remember?
Oh,
It was some time back.
2 years ago, wasn't it?
I think it was
No.
before that.
It was some
It
time
was,
back.
it was further back than that?
It was
I would-
Joe.
I would think
Joe
it
was
was
here. I remember. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's before we came back on.
Yeah. I don't even know if I was on the board at the time. I remember reporting about it. So it was a while back.
All right. The last three are motions that need approved, so I'm going to recommend the motion to approve the out-of-state field trip as shown in Exhibit B.
So move.
Second.
This boys' basketball,
They do this every year.
they do.
Okay. Is there any just questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Item number 4, recommend the motion to approve the following resolution with TNN Excavating for repair of the gas line as is shown in Exhibit C.
So moved.
Second.
Good.
Okay, just a recap, right?
This is just the overall bill outside of Alliance Drain and Sewer from TNN Excavating. I did discuss that. It's urgent, so we can pay it because of the situation, the emergency we're in, but I don't also feel that it should be board approved due to the cost. So we're bringing that in front of the board at a cost of $127,662 for that.
Yeah, it turned into a little bit bigger of a project than we'd hoped for.
Yes. So Josh was part of most of those meetings are out there. It was almost 3 weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many days they were out there.
Quite a bit. But so I want to bring that to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
All right, the last one. Recommend the motion to approve the following resolution for a contract for the high school roof improvements as shown in Exhibit D.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Details?
This is from the work session. We gave you the quotes from the work session. This group has done the first 2 phases and done an excellent job. The question that Mr. Hagan and Ms. Humphries asked, is it possible to do both sections and complete the roof all together and be done? So you're looking at, we're looking at, I forget the total square footage. So we were looking at phase 3, which was 34,600 square feet, which was more than the other 2 phases, not combined, but the other phase is 32,500, so you're looking at,
67,100.
yeah, 67,100 square feet. Phase 3 would have been about $1.45 million. The question was, the original quote to do them combined was saving some money at $2.7 million. I did go back and request a reduction if we would combine both. They were willing to reduce another $100,000 off that, which brought it down to $2.6 million. So Bob and I kind of really took a good look the last 2 days at, the assumptions based on the forecast for our capital improvement and our permanent improvement on a combined account. And can we still afford a little bit of wiggle room for major projects plus some other summer projects we'd like to look at? We feel that we can. So my recommendation is to do a phase 3 and 4 as a combined and be done with the high school roof. If the board will okay that at $2.6 million, almost $2,693,600. That's where we're at. That would complete the high school roof.
I think, yeah, with the rising costs, it makes sense. That makes sense to me. And to get a little bit of a wiggle room to get, that $100,000 off, that could help with other things that were planned. I think that's the way to go.
So all said and done, will be at about a $4.7 million project that the board was able to approve in the last 3 years. Thank you. If you approve this.
Any other comment? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Okay, Bob, treasurer's agenda.
Okay. First item on the treasurer's agenda is that I would like to make a recommendation that the board approve the minutes for the October 17th board meeting.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Okay, next item is to approve the financial reports. I'd like to recommend that the board approve the financial reports as presented for the month of October.
So move.
Second.
Highlights and/or questions?
Highlights, Bob?
Highlights coming up in just a moment. Okay. We finished the month of October with a balance of $11,051,677.96. To break that down a little further, the ending cash balance in the general fund at the end of October was $8,966,292.36. And then in the capital projects and permanent improvement funds, I'd like to highlight those as well. $291,624.99 in the capital projects fund. That's the one that's funded by the transfer of the pipeline money. Permanent improvement fund ended October with a balance of $1,024,106.76. The cash reconciliation was completed in the month of October. And also presented for your review is a list of the checks that were issued in the month. If you have any questions about any of those, I would entertain them. But also would just like to point out a couple large ones. This also reflects, like in here you'll see some large payments, payments related to the gas pipeline that Mr. Swisher mentioned. But it was a busy month for issuing checks, so if you have any questions, I'll try to address those.
Did we find anything out on the underground storage tank fund?
Just a little bit. It's not 100% resolved yet, but what I found out was I spoke to the contractor that did the tank removal for us, and they submit samples, or I think the person from the EPA actually comes out and takes them perhaps, but the samples were checked, and according to the contractor, there's no need for remediation, that they passed the inspection like that. So that was a sigh of relief to know that. However, at this point in time, I do not have like the final sign off, you could say, by the state fire marshal. So we'll maintain that $10,000 fund that we have currently until we get that official clearance from that. But the expenses associated with that have been paid as well. So I feel good about things where they're at, but of course we'll like to have it completely resolved.
This is kind of off the grid here a little bit, but, and if you don't know. But so how much has our electric costs gone up? Because I mean, from changing, like, do you have a percentage-ish?
No, I don't. I'd have to check into that because I really haven't addressed it since we negotiated the lower rates about roughly a year ago. So I know even Mr. Gazzoni in the presentation mentioned, the increase in utility costs. But I'd really have to look at that and get back to you as far as what's been the true impact of those agreements that we had. I'd like to dig deeper too and find out how it compares to others because there's different agreements out there. And it's coming up, and it's going to a bid again. The ESC is working through another round of processes here where they're going to bid on behalf of school districts as well to negotiate rates for the future. I think ours is through the end of this coming calendar year, if I remember correctly. So I guess the short answer, Karen, is I don't know. For us, it might be less, it might be a decrease based on the year before, but I'd have to look and let you know.
There would be a change, though, also because we went from like boilers to, just all the different. Now that's not just in the real recent past here, but it's that change. That would be interesting to know the difference of.
Yeah,
Costing.
the natural gas versus electric
Right.
with all the mini splits that we added.
Right.
Air conditioning now too,
Right. That's what I want. Okay.
which is a good thing.
Yeah,
So-
it is. Okay. Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Five-year forecast. I would like to recommend a motion to approve the five-year forecast as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments? Call the roll, please.
One quick comment, I just would like to let you all know, and the public as well, that the forecast that's being approved tonight is available on the agenda, on the through the website. You can reach the agenda and download a copy of that. But it's the same as the draft copy that's already been posted to the district website as well. So,
Perfect.
so that'll be available for public viewing.
Thank you.
Roll call then.
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
I would like to recommend that the board approve the donations for November.
So move,
Second.
and you'll read those?
Will do. From the Alliance Elk Charities, $5,000 to support students that are facing homelessness, to assist in providing food and clothing. From the Teague family, Ted and Heather Murphy, and Murphy's Coffee Truck, Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Canton, both donated to vape education to educate students on the dangers and consequences of vaping. Penny and Jim Frederick donated winter coats and books for Washington Elementary Library. Diane and Dave Kunzman donated $50 to the Washington Elementary Library. The Robotics Club received the following donations: $50 from Richard and Christina Baxter, $100 from Harding Heating and Cooling, $400 from SES Steel Equipment Specialists.
Wonderful. We thank all those people for their donations.
Absolutely.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Swift. Oops, I'm sorry. When I didn't get that far to mark it up. Okay, excuse me. sure Jonathan wouldn't mind. Okay. The next item on the treasurer's agenda is that I would like to recommend a motion to approve the transfer from the general fund to the capital projects fund, the first half of the year's Nexus pipeline proceeds.
So moved.
Any comments?
Yes, I would just say that this is, the amount of the transfer is $686,307.26. And estimate that I have currently for the amount that we'll receive for the second half is approximately $300,000 higher than that, is what I'm estimating right now, which would be about $987,000. So that's part of the math, you could say, that helped Mr. Swisher and I come to the recommendation for doing the entire roof project.
Where it says the less fees, what are those fees?
There's the auditor, there's certain
auditor.
fees that are deducted from the amounts that we receive from the Stark County Auditor's Office.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Okay, personnel, the board's okay, I will consent personnel, but review of the 4 sections for 1 vote. Okay. So we have 1 certified retirement. We have a few classified staff hires, some bus aides and educational aid and bus aid, and there's some bus aides we were missing. We have substitute hires on the classified side. We have some permanent sub hires for the certified side and supplementals. Moving into the winter and some for the spring. Not a lot on there from a personnel side this month.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion, questions?
Is there a second?
Yeah, Josh.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Okay, upcoming events. So we have Thanksgiving next week. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Going into that. We have Frosties on December 7th. And obviously we're looking at moving into Christmas break, December 23rd through January 3rd. And as always, for the athletic side of the schedule, please look at our website for all the updates and athletics from that end.
Beautiful. Next Board of Education meeting will be held here in the DLZ on December 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I have
So moved.
Oh, you have another one?
one
Sorry.
question for the
Yes.
board, and I'm okay with 6 p.m. I am going to be requesting an exec session in December to review, obviously, negotiations with the board and just some legal matters. So do you want to have those during the 6 o'clock meeting, or would you prefer to have an exec session prior to that meeting and just start the meeting right at 6? I can't imagine it'd be any more than a half hour of your time, maybe 40 minutes, but that's up to you.
Let's check our calendars.
I just know,
Fine with that ahead of time.
I'm good on the 19th.
Do it before the meeting?
Yeah.
Regular, yeah.
I mean, it's December, I don't know
You
how
want
it
just
is, so it
set
just,
it at 5?
if we set it for 5, we just would do exec session
Yeah.
first, and then keep the regular board meeting at 6, so we're not changing the board meeting.
Yep.
Yes.
But that's up to you guys. It's just a question. If not, we can keep it to where it is.
Okay with it.
Josh, does that work for you?
It's fine.
Start at 5. And then if we would get done in earlier, we
We
could
just
just
wait
wait
till
until
6 o'clock.
6. Okay, that's good. Okay. All right. Motioning to adjourn. Mark, is there a second?
So just to clarify, the next meeting,
December 19th?
December 19th at 5 p.m. instead of 6,
Yeah, executive session.
with executive session for negotiations and legal matters.
Yes.
Correct.
I just want to make that clear because I don't want people to show up at 5 o'clock for students of the month or anything else.
Yeah.
We can make that for 6 p.m.
The regular meeting.
The
will
regular
start at-
meeting
yeah.
time, correct.
So that'll be executive.
And I do not have, I think December 19th is incorrect. I have the third Thursday in December. Let me make sure that's right. Maybe it is the 19th. I'm sorry, I was in November. That
Yeah,
is
it
right.
is.
That's correct. Perfect.
Okay, so we'll have exec session.
You wanted to have the meeting on Christmas, didn't you, Dan?
Sorry. Yes, no check.
Who would show up? Okay, so can we have a second to adjourn?
So moved, for a second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes. Thank you for coming. Good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night.